I want to ask you guys one very simple question. Would you rather pay money for a remaster at slightly lower price than that of a full price game, let's say 40 bucks USD, 40 to 50 bucks USD, or would you rather pay a full 60 to $70 for a remake of a game? The reason why I asked this question is because apparently it seems like people are wanting to play remakes more than remasters, according to this specific research here that we're going to be looking into in just a moment. So apparently global spending on average a remake was more than twice than that of a remaster. Keeping in mind that a remaster isn't necessarily half the price of a remake, it's more like 70 to 75% the price of a remake. So if we're looking at in terms of actual spending numbers, you would have to buy 1.25 remasters for the equivalency of a single remake in terms of actual dollars. So I suppose there is to some extent a somewhat unfair comparison, but let's actually kind of look into it a little bit more. So of course, video game consumers spend twice as much on remakes than remasters. Okay, no, that's way more. Never mind. Okay, no, there's a genuine difference there in the last 2 years, according to new research by Ampere Analysis. According to the research, video game remakes and remasters released across 2024-2025 attracted 72.4 million players across PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, with these consumers spending $1.4 billion on premium full games and microtransactions. Now, I don't like the look of the fact that microtransactions are in there, because a lot of games that are being remade now, or have remakes I should say, like Silent Hill 2 for example, have no microtransactions. So I'm really wondering where this microtransactions number falls, because I can't think of any remakes or remasters that would have microtransactions, unless we're talking about something like... Oh, actually, you know what? No, wait. Now I think I know where the number's coming from. It's because of digital deluxe editions of remasters and stuff. Because say, for example, Tales of Graces F got a remaster, and so did Tales of Shillia, which I'm glad I was right about, because I predicted that was going to be the next Tales of game to get a remaster. But both of these games have digital deluxe editions. They gave you some additional stuff that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, and you're kind of better off just buying the main game. So I suppose I can probably see where that is coming from, but Ampere found that from 42 titles in particular, 15 remakes and 27 remasters released between January 2024 and September 2025, global spending on an average remake was more than that of an average remaster at 2.2 times. So I guess when we were looking at double, I thought it was 2 times, but no, they actually have a specific number of 2.2 times as much, which is crazy, because basically, like, okay, so here is the actual graph that they used. So they have games in here, the red dots referring to remasters and blue dots being a remake. And obviously, way far ahead of everything else, we have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which skews the data upwards, because that very much, like, if you look at it from a statistical point of view, if you've done stats, you should know that's definitely an outlier right there. And then you've got games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the best-selling remake, Silent Hill 2, a close second at that, and then stuff like Gears of War Reloaded, which was technically a remaster, that still is like much lower on the graph here. Because, yeah, obviously it's very much in a sort of line graph comparison, though it's more of a scatter plot when you really think about it, where peak monthly active users are on the left and peak consumer spending is on the right. So basically, the higher up it is, if you look at the up and down axis, that just means more people are playing it. And if you look at left and right, it's how much people spent. And I think that due to the high number of people, there was a lot of money being spent. Hence why, like, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was far and away up there, because it just had so many people playing it actively at any one given point in time, whereas the reason why Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is higher on the peak consumer spend rather than the peak monthly user spend, monthly active users, is because it has a higher shelf price when it released. And then Silent Hill 2, I think, is another good example of that. It's priced high, but there aren't as many people playing it as you would think. Whereas Gears of War Reloaded, more people are playing it than how much money it made, because it was definitely a more discounted product. And even when I got it, I think I got it at like a slight discount, even at that. So yeah, no, that's why the notable exceptions are Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. We reached a peak of 180 million in consumer spending and 7 million active monthly users across all three platforms of PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Interesting. Katie Hole, the senior analyst at MP Analysis, so the guys who actually made that report, said that as games and IP development costs escalate, publishers are increasingly raiding their back catalog for cost-effective remakes and remasters. Publishers deciding between a full remake versus a remaster have to balance franchise planning, investment risk, age of content, platform support, and more when choosing which route to take. And that's very, very true. It's a tough decision whether or not to make a remake or a remaster, because a lot of people are not able to tell the difference. Remasters are a lot quicker and easier to make because you're basically taking already existing content, porting it to a newer platform, and making some things look a little bit nicer. Remake, on the other hand, has more gameplay related ramifications and almost straight up changes the identity of the game. I feel like Silent Hill 2 is a very good example of that. No, actually, sorry, the Resident Evil remakes are a very good example of that, because the Resident Evil games, 1, 2, and 3, they were all sort of fixed, well, 2 and 3 in particular, I should say, were fixed camera, sort of eagle-eye view of like the map as you control a character with 10 controls, and instead in the remakes you remove the 10 controls and turn the camera into over the shoulder, straight up changing the very genre of the game. Outside of it still being a horror game, it's just the perspective change actually changes the actual gameplay that you're partaking in, or just straight up builds the game from the ground while trying to keep the bones very much the same. But you can't help but think that there might be some adjustments in there relative to everything else. But I feel like there's going to be a massive argument between what counts as a remaster and what counts as a remake. And obviously these guys at Ampere Games, or Ampere Analysis, definitely had to draw the line in the sand somewhere to be like, this is a remake, this is a remaster. And obviously you can see like how much some of these games are being charged for and whatever have you. But this then goes back to the question of, would you rather pay slightly less than full price for a remaster, or would you rather pay for a remake? I'm genuinely curious, not just because of what you, the audience, think about how this whole thing should shake down, but also, does the stuff that I see in the comments actually then reflect some of the stuff that these guys were talking about, this analysis group that did this research based on 2 years of games? Because we are seeing a lot more remasters and remakes of late, and that is largely due to, and probably in some way in relation to, the comment that we read earlier about how, yeah, game costs are absolutely rising, and somehow we got to go back into the back catalog and start, either doing a remake or a remaster based on how we feel that particular property is going to do. I suppose that's like a very, very fair thing to talk about. So I am genuinely curious as to seeing what you guys actually think about this in the comments below, because the way I sit here and look at this is, would I rather there be more remakes or remasters? I would rather there be more remakes, but I understand that that takes way longer to make, and on top of that, the amount of time and effort required, we're probably going to see more remakes as a result being cancelled rather than being released as we do with normal game releases. Remasters seems like an easier way to kind of get games onto the shelf and pose a smaller risk, or less of a risk, than remakes would. So I to be completely fair, I would rather see more remasters on the shelves than remakes, because I understand that that's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass for people to kind of work on in that sense. But those are my thoughts and reactions. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year, and with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.